Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform, our platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to this Libra new moon video, talk, channel, ceremony. So I'll probably do something at the end where I hope that you participate in with me. And what a powerful, it's a silent but powerful new moon that we have. I'm telling you, this new moon packs quite a punch. Like, the more and more I was looking at the chart, I was just astounded at what I was uncovering. I'm like, wow, this is really a huge moment right now in our collective story, in our collective experience, I would say. I don't want to say his story because there's also a her story. I feel like the her story is being, it's unveiled right now. And, people are reacting to it in, their own way. The way that, they need to react to it right now. But it's bringing up this incredible awareness now, where it's like we really cannot deny the fact that yes, we have hurt each other, and we have taken from each other. But that does not mean that we will ever stop moving towards a better day, a better now, a better current, a better flow. Because we always seem to do that, no matter how desperate our story gets. There is always a way out. There is always a breakthrough. There is always a response to that place that balances it. And then when it comes back to the center, we integrate. So, and right now what I'm thinking about is a pendulum. The way a pendulum swings, right? So it's like sometimes we will take it to the desperate ends, right? And we seek balance. But then we as a collective go to the other desperate end and we seek balance. The balance really is right here in the middle. It's the middle path. And a lot of times what happens is pendulum will swing and we'll get a glimpse of it. And we'll get another glimpse of it. Then we'll get another glimpse of it. And it keeps coming back until we get to the center. And then we find stillness. That center is what happens when you take a breath of fresh air. And you open your eyes and bam. That middle moment, that middle path is really when you first wake up. When you first wake up, when you rise in the morning. That moment. That middle moment can be in the shower for you. It can be taking your dog for a walk. There are many ways that we can reach that moment. But sometimes our story, we cling to the edges, rightfully so, because it's not, we would not know the distance that we can go if we did not cling to the edge from time to time. Because it's interesting how we have Scorpio energy, which we're heading into. It's in many ways Scorpio season already. You have Jupiter here, Venus is here, Mercury will be coming into this spot very shortly. Actually, I think tomorrow evening Mercury will be coming in there. And we got about half a month of Libra going, about 15 days or so, 2 weeks until the Sun enters into Scorpio. Scorpio does in many ways represent the boundaries. It does represent this sort of caution tape. Stay within these parameters. You are safe here and protected. But it's interesting how, in order for us to know what we are capable of, we constantly have to cross that caution tape. And then what happens? We develop this shame within us for having crossed that boundary. We punish ourselves psychologically for crossing that boundary. But we don't realize the great healing and depth that comes from crossing that boundary. This is why we have to go through Libra season before we get to Scorpio season, because we really do have to really weigh out and balance and integrate and harmonize that quality, that element of air in the mode of cardinal, which is about direction, the way we direct this air flow, this voice, how we direct it, right? Words are very powerful. And yet, to describe the sheer fact that we are somehow all connected in to this incredible power source that continues to allow us to experience such an incredible, profound, mystical dream. And yes, I know I'm speaking very poetically right now, but this is Libra season, so yeah. And I have my Venus in Libra, so yes, I'm going to be freaking poetic right now, because that's this energy. So some people who might not necessarily be into that sort of thing may think that you are a hopeless romantic for feeling the way that you do. You may be a hopeless romantic in a dream that you might have. Perhaps your dream is to unite the world. Perhaps your dream is to eliminate borders. The moment we really eliminate our borders as a populace is the moment we're going to discover the parameter that we are in. I'm going to repeat that. The moment that we disband these borders that we have within us, between us, it's the moment that we really discover our parameter. We are still evolving as a collective, and we work on different elements and different zodiac signs and try to master these as we go along. We've only dipped our toes into this Cancer vibe as far as like wanting to master emotions and empathy and connecting in that sort of way. We still have a lot of healing of our ancestors to do, a lot of things of our past and a generational. This is why the North Node will be coming into the spot very, very soon. We've only had a bit of a flutter of the Leo energy. And like microscopic little hits of all the other energies. We're still really working on the Gemini energy, relating to each other. We're still working on that thing. But the moment that the borders really begin to fall, and when I say borders, I mean the moment where countries don't exist. That's really what I see is a big hurdle for us and a big obstacle for us uniting, is because we have these countries, these apparent lines drawn on maps that designate that this area is blah 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 and that area is boo blah blah blah. Like, that's what we're going through. And there's nothing wrong with, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with culture. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being proud of a heritage. And I think sports being invented, and I'm talking about all this with this Libra new moon because, first of all, it needs to be channeled through. Sports, I feel, is an evolutionary aspect of our society that allows us to wage war on each other based off of heritage. So you see this with the Olympics, or you see this with World Cup and all different kinds of sporting events, celebrations, cups, titles, championships, where different teams from different areas, be it countries or cities, battle it out. You don't think none of that stuff is playing out in other dimensions? Now, why do I mention this right now? I think I mention this is because now we're about to take this to another level, and I believe seriously that when we disband these borders, we don't have borders anymore. We're all one. We're all in this together. That's the moment where we really discover the parameter. Maybe we are inside of a flat Earth. Maybe the Earth actually is a globe. Maybe it is hollow. Maybe it's a cube. But I don't think we will really get to know or gain access to that knowledge until we acknowledge that divinity that is in each and every being. And we truly appreciate the world that we live in. And that's what this Libra new moon is bringing up in many ways. We are definitely wanting some type of fairness. We're definitely wanting some type of justice and harmony. I'm going to bring up the chart here so we can just talk about some of the aspects, and I'll continue, of course, with the poetic metaphors. As you can see, this is happening at 15 degrees of Libra. Now, it's not perfect how this is actually occurring at 15 degrees of Libra. The sign of fairness and justice in the scales, and we just so happen to have a powerful new moon right at 15 degrees of Libra. Can't make this up. Like, you can't make this up. Now, later, I'm going to actually read from this about 15 degrees, but I really kind of want to drive home this idea of a pendulum. And yeah, this might hypnotize some of you all. Very alluring and hypnotizing, whatever. But, you know, we all are under some sort of spell, and it seems like the spell does tend to wear off when we come more to the center, when we come more to that place of Zen. The spell doesn't have as tough of a grip on us. Sometimes the spell shows us very beautiful things. Sometimes the spell shows us things we wish we did not see, but we've still experienced it. We can allow ourselves to heal and move forward. We can allow ourselves to integrate too. That's the powerful thing about this. This right here is Leo. He was messing with the tripod, and he's probably going to get upset with me because I picked him up, and he doesn't like when I pick him up. I just didn't want him to rub up on the tripod and have it moving and stuff like that. But if the tripod occasionally moves and you see like the thing shift a bit, that's him hugging the tripod. Let's go ahead and read 15 degrees, and then we'll talk about more about the other aspects. Because this is like, when I read this, I was like, wow, this is so perfect actually for this new moon. 15 degrees of Libra. Prehistoric paintings on the walls of a vast chamber of a cave. Those of you who know what I was just communicating to you without using words. But I still directed it towards you guys. Anyways, lost inside the infinite variety of ways that Earth existence portrays itself and explores itself, you are thrown into an infinity of responses and reactions to the myriad of variations on universal themes. That was one sentence, by the way. Astounded and dazzled by the way it all comes down, you need to gather a super expanded field into the coherent, progressive pattern, into a virtually random scan attunement, faced with the gargantuan task of coming to know its own real parameters. The only possible path to harnessing and working with this vast multiplicity is to remain artistically and creatively alive to the whole dazzling panorama. Simply choose a mode of expression that can do justice to the infinite scan approach, making it meaningful to everybody else, as an appreciation of all that is here, as an uninhibited celebration of the fullest profusion of soul impressions, which reveals and reflects the bounty and the glory magnificently. Yeah, you probably should like rewind that and listen to it again. I'm gonna read that again because like the first time I read it before I even came on here, I was like, yeah, that's about how I feel right now. But it's just said it so poetically, and that's really what this is. This experience is such a deep, intricate, yet light, fluffy, beautiful, colorful, sensational, magnificent experience. And sometimes we can get overloaded by these senses. Sometimes we can get overloaded by all of the energies and the cosmic codes that are flying through our vessels at any given moment. Because we are stars. We are stars flying through space. And I know there are certain individuals that don't necessarily believe that we are on a ball flying through space because they don't feel the earth moving. And you know what? Everyone has, their opinions and stuff. I can't say if the earth is around or not or flat. I really can't say, because I have not gone up into what they call space and looked back at the earth with my own two eyes, or at least in this physical vessel. I have not done that. What I can say is that within the space of this earth, which is actually the element, but within the space of this being that we find ourselves on, there is movement. The waves move, the trees move, even mountains move. So to think that energies aren't moving through us as well would be kind of a non-advantageous thought. Energies move through the earth just as energies move through us. And sometimes the energies that move through can overload our senses. Especially right now with Mars in Aquarius. South Node in Aquarius. Of course, Mars is about to come out of shadow very, very soon, thank God. But look at where Uranus is, right? Uranus is right here at the beginning of Taurus. It's about to shift right back into Aries. This is a moment right now where we are being called to really harness and really create and foster this inner peace. Now, what does that look like? You know, we spend so much time on fighting each other in wars, right? We spend so much time doing these things that we forget about that deeper quality that's within every one of us. This is a perfect example because me and my fiance, we've been watching The 100 on Netflix, and it's a very good show. Kind of started off slow, but it's gotten really good. There have been some very interesting twists and turns. I really enjoyed it. Even when, like a spoiler alert, even when they well, I'm not going to spoil it actually. But one thing I will say is that there are certain sects of people, and they're all human, how they keep saying that they're doing certain actions, or they're doing certain things and reacting in certain ways for the good of their people. But the funny thing is that they're all human. They might have different backgrounds, they might have different challenges that they've had to overcome, but they're all human. But they keep saying, we're doing this for my people, for our people. But they hurt other groups of people in the process. But yet, they're all human. So this is, I encourage you to really watch it. I really do, especially if you're like into sci-fi sort of stuff, or even like if you are in this sort of spiritual community, self-help community, which I really kind of want to just get away from that. I want to really say that it's a awareness-based community where we're wanting to raise our awareness. And yes, there are certain pockets that we still need to work out, like everyone needs to work out. You know, there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of spiritual egoism that's going to come out during this new moon. And we have to learn to still remain in integrity, because we have to remember Saturn is exalted in Libra. So this is all about integrity of word and integrity of establishing bonds with others that is fair, that is justice, that is peaceful, that is harmonizing. Why do you think it's so crazy right now? Because it's simply, there is no equity. I'm not going to say equality, because I don't think we're all equal. I think we all certainly have that divine connection to Source, but we all are experiencing this experience through different angles. And we're coming at it from different lens, different focal points. But this is what makes it so beautiful, because when you put it all together, it's a beautiful rainbow aura of energy, a beautiful carpet, masterpiece, tapestry, whatever you want to call it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're all equal. Equal would assume that we'll literally be all the same. That's like the worst case scenario of Aquarius, right? We're all the same. Like, watch The Giver on Netflix or Hulu. Like, that's what that is. That would be equality. But that doesn't really yield to the creativeness and the expression that we have. But what we're seeking, of course, is equity, integration. I'm not even going to say balance. I'm going to say integration, because there's nothing wrong with balance, but when you balance two things, you still kind of keep them apart. When you balance things, you keep them apart because you're weighing them against each other. Even if they seem like they're balanced like this still can promote some strife over time. And I think that's what we're seeing. But instead what we're doing is that we'll balance these things and we'll integrate it. This is sort of like, you know, during those marriage ceremonies where it's like the pouring of the sands? That's kind of what this is. Imagine it's like you have one sand bottle right here and you have another sand bottle right here, and you measured them out and they were perfectly the same weight, right? The exalted form of this Libra energy, and when it's like, yes, you balance, but then you bring them together. And it swirls and it creates this beautiful, I'm being very, very like this right now, so whatever. But it creates this beautiful pattern within the sand. Swirls, Fibonacci spirals, the golden ratio. But each granule of sand still maintains its integrity. Still in many ways maintains its character. But it's now part of something grander, something more meaningful. I think we have been fooling ourselves into believing that we are trying to take away from each other, and we have taken away from each other, but I think we're trying to fool ourselves into believing that that was like the initial reason why we even came here, is to take from each other, when really it was to give. But in order to give, in order to be for the giving, you have to forgive yourself. So you have to give yourself. Give yourself a chance to seriously bail out. This is a lot of this energy, I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot of people are holding themselves in spiritual prison right now. We have Chiron right at the edge degrees of Pisces, these final degrees. A lot of people are holding themselves hostage in spiritual jail, and they won't pardon themselves. Myself included, I've been there. Holding myself in jail, not allowing myself to move past it, to move forward, to heal, to redeem, to more than redeem, to experience, to expand, to make better, to live in integrity. So I really feel like this new moon is an opportunity where we're going to kind of place this beacon within our consciousness, and that no matter what happens from here on out in our story, no matter how far we go, we can come back to this moment and we can realize the beautiful intention that we're setting. It's right here at 15 degrees. And you heard what I read there. This is a moment right now. It's a very important decision that we're all making too. And let me just read off some of these other aspects. I mean, you see them right here, but I did write them down. But on the way to this conjunction of this, the sun that the moon will make as it's going through Libra, which this is occurring really later in the evening. It's like 11:46, 11:48 or so p.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time. But look what we have here. We have it King Kunxing Neptune at 14 degrees. This is a 1 degree orb. It's also going to conjunct the asteroid Ceres at 14 degrees on the way to this. And the asteroid Ceres represents, in many ways, the relationship that we have with our mother. It's about nurturance. It's about the harvest too. So this is a very big harvesting moment. It's also making a square to Pluto, and it's going to trine the asteroid Nemesis. Both Pluto is at 18 degrees of Capricorn, and Nemesis is at 18 degrees of Gemini. And that's a 3 degree orb, so it's not going to be as prevalent, but it's sort of like this thing in the background that's going to be like, oh wow, here, this is something else that you want to consider, because the moon, of course, is going to make the direct aspect to these relatively quickly, pretty much overnight. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, the square to Pluto is going to be bringing up, this whole transformation that we need to undergo as a society. Like this transformation, it's like you can see that since it's not an exact aspect, and it's a 3-degree orb, that the fact that we're placing our beacon right here is really important, because the 3 degrees in between there is really going to be kind of like us. It's going to be like this little buffer zone where we can work on, we can make better, you know, we can improve. So I like to think of this new moon as a checkpoint. Like, I really do. Like, Save like Life is really like a video game, and you know how you reach certain checkpoints, you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the level or the game. This new moon is a checkpoint. That's what I really feel. So it's going to be like, it's like, oh yes, I made it this far. I made it this far. Yes, I finally made it to this point, and now I can finally like save my progress. You know, I made it to this point. This is awesome. That's huge. That's massive. Give yourself, seriously, a round of applause for making it to this checkpoint, to this moment. You are here, beautiful brothers and sisters. You are alive and well. You are breathing. I hope you took that breath with me. Now we'll make sure to do some breathing at the end of the video. And then, like I said, it's trining over to Nemesis, which is in Gemini. And I thought this was great because the asteroid Nemesis, it represents scapegoating, placing the blame on others, pointing to others. And what a better sign to put it than in Gemini. So it's like the sun, our spirit, and the moon, our soul, in many ways, are coming together and wanting to reach some type of peace, harmony, and compromise within ourselves and, of course, with other people. But then we got a little Nemesis over here, 18 degrees. And it's like, oh, she did it. He did it. They're the reason for that. They're the reason for that. And yes, there are dark forces. There are shadows. There are forces that are trying to disrupt this progress and this flow, that are trying to disrupt this evolution, that are trying to disrupt this upgrade. But it's already underway. The other thing about this is that you have to consider that, you know, Libra in many ways represents our guides and our angels. So know that, you know, you have guides, angels, friends, and lovers, and other realms and realities, dimensions, and angles that are helping you out. Past, you know, loved ones who have passed on to the other side. They are working very much so well with you and your chief guides right now to assist in your evolution, to your upgrading, to your strengthening of your spiritual power, the strengthening of this, you know, this essence. Quintessential essence of who you are. Sometimes, at least I could definitely see with this new moon, we make ourselves our own worst enemy. We can be our best friend and our worst enemy. And in those moments, we need to work out and come up with better ways of bringing ourselves back to that middle ground, that middle point. And it's okay to grab the edges. It's okay to grab the edges. It's okay to go to those depths and to those links. Believe me, we're uncovering why we're doing all this because Jupiter is here. And then as far as your relationships, you know, Venus just stopped at 10 degrees and it's coming backwards. So we still have Venus that has to go through the second and third decan of Scorpio. And then, of course, the sun will go through here too. So we're still working on why we cling to the edges, why we push the boundaries, but how that also makes us very powerful, abundant, pure. And our drive to unite our hearts. Another thing about this aspect that I found was very interesting was the fact that this new moon makes a semi-square. It makes a semi-square, which is a 45-degree aspect. and it's making it to the royal star of Regulus, which has just recently, very recently, shifted into Virgo. So it's at 0 degrees of Virgo. So with this semi-square, it's bringing up the sort of mini challenge that we all have within ourselves. Regulus being this fixed star, in many ways you think of course, you think of, it's the heart of the lion, right? So we are being given an opportunity to reclaim a bit of our courage, to reclaim a bit of our bravery to move forward, regardless of any type of obstacles that might come up, any type of challenges. I like to think of Regulus in many ways as, or the semi-square, in many ways can be sort of like, I'm thinking of the Lion King for some reason, of course, and you know, when Simba ran away from his duties and stuff like that. That can be kind of like a Regulus thing. But also having the bravery and the courage to face what we have done and to create a better now for ourselves and our people. That's really what it is. And now that it's shifted into Virgo, we are focused on this great healing, this greater healing when it comes to this regal aspect of us. Regulus, if like you spell it out, and if you kind of say it different, it's like regal us. Regal us. Like we are regal. We are royalty. We are stars, right? 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 I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star, I'm a star. I like to think of us as fireflies, actually. I like to think of us as fireflies. Stars are fireflies. But now I'm just kind of getting dreamy. You can see the effect of this new moon, especially for someone, like I said, who has Venus in Libra at 8 degrees. So let's draw a card. And then we'll say some affirmations, because this will be a very powerful new moon for affirmations. The card that we have on top, I'm going to draw 2 cards. Actually, this is the card that was on bottom. We have romantic love. Romantic love. And we also have passion. Some of y'all about to get in a relationship. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some of y'all about to get into a long ass relationship. Relationship. Some of y'all about to get with your twin flames and your soulmates. Oh yeah. It's about to be a crazy party, don't you feel it now? Hey, hey. Like, really? Passion and romantic love. These are the cards that come up. So, it's interesting because we have a Venus retrograde, and under normal circumstances, I would advise against getting into serious relationships at this time. Or even if you're in a relationship and you are worried about it, and you've been thinking about potentially ending it, to actually still hold off. You know, we have this Venus retrograde for 40 days or 40 nights. This is really going to really test us and how we really view other people and where we're willing to make compromises, where we're willing to give up a little part of ourselves for someone else, and without disrespecting our integrity, without disrespecting our truth. See, that's the thing, and that's the balancing act that we are learning right now, is how can we give to others without disrespecting our own truth. And that can be a tricky line to cross and to walk. But it's something that we're all learning. It's something that we all have, it's trial and error with that sort of thing. But this is a moment where relationships are being transformed forever right now. So with these cards, know that really it's through your passion that you're going to find your romantic love. I'm just going to say that. It's through your passion that you will find your romantic love. Now, I mean, just with this, and in relationships, since this is in the sign of relationships, it's not just romantic relationships. But for this aspect, as far as this coming up, this is talking about a deep transformation within your romantic relationships. You know. We also have the third eye chakra here. So this is about, having vision and using your intuition. So this is, like I said, a moment where really we are going through this review period with the Venus retrograde. This new moon in Libra is asking us to balance, harmonize in a peaceful way, but also integrate what we have learned. And it's asking us to develop some sense of patience, actually. It's interesting. It's develop some patience to also bail us out of spiritual jail, to bail us out. You know, we can be hard on ourselves, you know, really hard on ourselves. But this is about directing better communication, not only to other people, but to ourselves. Because, you know, Libra is the sign of relationships, and the most important relationship that you're ever going to develop here is the one with yourself. No matter how many times we try to tell ourselves otherwise, it is through yourself. And yes, you will develop incredibly beautiful, transforming relationships with other people that really will influence your decisions and influence who you are becoming always. They will influence it. We need each other. We need each other. Why do you think we're even here? Like, imagine, and this is just the dark side of me coming out, but imagine being in a room by yourself for like eons at a time, and you're just like, no one else is there. You would definitely create a world for yourself and experience the different aspects of yourself. Now, am I saying that that's what's happening here? No, but that thought had to come from somewhere still. We all have probably been there, too. But we are given this opportunity to come into this space and come together, you and me, both stars, both connected to this divine source, somehow could come here and have an interaction with each other, an actual exchange, and you receive it. Even if you don't receive it in the same way, it's incredible how I can literally go to another country and smile at someone. And more than likely, they will return the smile. Someone who I have no previous, knowledge of before. Someone who we don't even speak the same language. Who's had multiple different kinds of experiences from me. But I can smile at them, or I can do something, and I will actually get an interaction from them. Let's do some breathing, alright? I just want you can do this by yourself, whatever, you can do it along with me, but just make sure that you're taking, mostly deep breaths. Breathe down to your diaphragm, and you can go at your own pace. You can do deep breaths, and then you can relax into your natural rhythm, but let's just take time right here to acknowledge the moment, acknowledge the peace and harmony within this moment. How can we disarm the harm that we feel? By embracing it. And harmonizing with that harm. And not receiving the harm ourselves. But understanding it. So that both may understand it. So we may finally heal. And move forward. How do we disarm the harm? Realizing the only way that we're going to reach the next harmonic of our experience is by working together. Each and every one of us is sovereign, integrated expression of that which seems to escape any type of word we can place on it, whatever that we are connected to. We move forward. Let us take time to give gratitude and thanks for where we are. You may say whatever you wish to say at this time. I encourage you to join me in this. I'm grateful for the birds chirping outside. I'm grateful to be able to connect with some beautiful visions that continue to push forward and to never give up. Sounds of hearing my cat lick himself. I'm appreciative of this place that I call where I can lay my head on the knees, where I can enjoy great times, and sad times, and fun times, and agitated times, and experience itself. For all of my family and friends, for my beautiful partner, the people I am to help and who are to help me. Colleagues, teachers, students, pupils, masters, elders, bystanders, I'm grateful to be alive, to be smiling. I get to smile. This is incredible. I am grateful. I am grateful for this experience, this poetry, emotion, beautiful flow ever going. So grateful for this. Smile. I could smile. I feel the vibration of my smile. I feel what it's like to smile, to laugh, to let it come out and come forward unhindered, passionate. Thank you for allowing this. Thank you. Thank you. Can't stop smiling. Smile often. I love you all. Utilize this to the best of your abilities. I hope that this video helped you in any way. I hope that this message resonated with you in any way. Whether the whole thing or just a little bit, it is my hope that I bridged this understanding of peace, harmony, and integration of these balancing acts that we do so that we may reach the next level of our story and our collective experience. Thank you so much for joining me, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Can you tell I have fun with this yet? That's like, you're supposed to have fun with this. You're supposed to have fun with this. Let me draw one more card. We have Dynamic. The card of Dynamic. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of different origin and frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that is made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. Bam! Let's do this, guys. Let's do this! Let's do this! Booyah! Enjoy the rest of your moment, your evening, your day, no matter where you are at in the world while you're viewing this. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed this message. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and come join us at the Aquarian Adepts. We would really love to have you. This is only the beginning, and it's interesting because last week I was dealing, and even up to just a few days ago, I was dealing with these issues of self-worth. I was dealing with these issues of keeping myself in this prison, keeping myself and not really bailing myself out, not really pardoning myself of actions and inactions that I've had up until that moment. But I am here, speaking to you all. I am here, and that's a beautiful gift. That's a miracle, and I can utilize this moment in any way I can. And what better way to utilize it by also telling you how miraculous this moment really is. Always was. That always will be. So join us at the Aquarian Adepts. It's going to be fun. We're going to move forward together. Connect. Can't wait to meet you all in person. Have events. This is really only the beginning. It's exciting. It's the new world. It's the new era. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's have fun. Like, seriously. Let's go. Oh boy. I love you all. Y'all take care. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Y'all thought I forgot about this, but no, I did not. You keep moving forward to stay focused and Yahoo! Smile often.